Welcome students, welcome to the new session. Today's session will be an interesting session for you today. Why? Because we are going to understand, learn what are interview skills. So most of you must have done different courses, different degrees, different programs, different diploma, degree, etc. But why we are doing so? Because we want to have a desired job. We want to have a particular, a job in a field. And this interview skill is necessary as important for you. Why? Because it helps you to bridge the gap between you and your dream company, right? So you have done a lot of efforts, and you have put in a lot of efforts to learn all these skills in you. But what stops you is that when you are not able to deliver what you really know, right? So if this happens, so what happens? It actually makes a gap between you and the company. So today with Career Era, what we'll be doing is we'll be understanding interview skills, what are interview skills, and how effectively you can present your views in front of the recruiter, right? So let's get started. So before we start, let's understand what interview is exactly. So most of us are scared from this term when we hear this word called interview. Okay, today I'll have interview. So I'm scared, I'm nervous what the person would ask, and some of us are so scared that we turn out to be nervous, and maybe this can be a biggest reason wherein we are not able to perform well when we are sitting in front of the recruiter. I am not only talking about the freshers, but also, the uh, those who are really experienced too, right? So before we start, let's see what is an interview. So interview is nothing but an inner views. Inner views means there are two people, those who are involved. They are trying to share the inner views. So a candidate who is appearing for the interview, the interviewer just want to understand what are the inner views of that particular candidate. That's it, right? In layman language, it is just the interaction process to understand the skills and the desired knowledge against the job profile here. That is the only definition of interview. But most of us makes it complicated how to make it, making yourself in pressure, or maybe with a lot of anxieties that what questions they can ask. So today we'll understand one by one what to do, what not to do, and how to handle questions if they have been asked. And some frequent questions, we will try to solve them one by one. So before I start and begin the session, let's understand how many types of interviews you can go through. So first is telephonic or online interview. So now a days, if I talk about pandemic days, so yes, this is a very frequent, or mostly, nowadays interviews are happening over the telephone or maybe online using Zoom, WebEx, or maybe any other Skype, or maybe any other platform of the company, right? So you can be interviewed through telephonic or online, where a person can see you in with online, a person can see you live, right? So it could be similar like face-to-face interaction, but it is done online. Telephonic interview could be first round of your interview, wherein a person makes a call to you and would ask frequent questions, right? Or he wants to understand the basic, understand what is your understanding related to those skills or subject. Now, panel interview is mostly done when you are appearing for some experienced, profile, maybe a senior profile. So at that particular time, this panel interview is being done. So here, two to three or maybe five people would be sitting all together, maybe board of directors, maybe managing director, HR, technical head, or project manager. So there will be like 4 or 5 people, those who will be sitting in a single room and will be interviewing the single person. So the basic agenda of this panel interview is to to not waste time in a single round. Multiple people sit and understand the person's skill set area, so it becomes easy and they save time in one go. Face-to-face interaction is the most important, is the most frequent, I would say, process of interviewing, where you meet an interviewer, and he will or take your interview. Could be a technical recruiter or could be a HR recruiter. So this is one-to-one process basically. Then stress interview. So stress interview is another kind of interview. Maybe your job profile, demands that you are to work in stress, lot of stress, or maybe you will be handling multiple profiles altogether, or you will be loaded with a lot of work. So how they check your efficiency? They check your efficiency through stress interview. So in this stress interview, they will not mention that this is stress interview. There are frequent questions that are being asked to understand how effectively you can handle the stress. Now, next is behavioral. Behavioral is very common, very important, very effective type of interview that a company would arrange for you. Why? Because nowadays, if you talk, this is 40% of your skills and 60% of your soft skills. A company requires, I repeat, 40% of your technical skills or subject knowledge and 60% of your behavior. Means how effectively you will behave in the organization. What is your attitude towards the work? Would you be able to handle pressure? How effectively you coordinate with your team members? Are you a good team player, or you maintain harmony in the team? You are a go-getter and you have a go-getter attitude or not? So such kind of questions are very important to understand in behavioral interviews. There are lot many questions that is helpful to understand a behavior of the person. Some of the companies, they would also conduct psychometric assessments to understand the behavior of the human being, right? So those are professionally designed questions. Might you will get 40 questions with some answers to understand what is your attitude, what is your mindset, and how do you think, what is the direction of your thinking. So this is something that you will understand and that can be asked in behavioral interviews. The next is your technical interview. Yes, it is a very important type of interview. Like when you appear for technical interview, a person would ask questions from your domain. Let's say you are from marketing, so might be there that the person would ask questions from your domain, from the marketing, from the sales, from if you're from the IT background, questions can be from DBMS, could be from Java, Python, whichever language or whichever technology you have mentioned on your resume. So this technical person is not interested in your basic personality or something. He is very much interested what is your technical or subject knowledge. Then we talk about lunch and dinner. This is not very common in India. This is something which happens outside India, this kind of interview, but you should know what is lunch and dinner interview. People would call you on over lunch or dinner for the interview process. In India also it happens, but for the very, very senior profiles, maybe CEO, maybe any other, the position holder position. So this is not common for freshers or experience of 5 to 6 years, or might can happen. So it happens when a person would call you over a lunch or dinner for the interview process, right? So here I have talked about the technicalities, that what is technical telephonic interview. It often comprises request initial telephone interview before inviting you in for a face-to-face meeting in order to get a better understanding. So what happens is some of the companies, what they do is they conduct first interview process as your telephonic interview, where they understand what is your knowledge and are you a suitable candidate for this profile or not. If they find it they find it suitable, they will call you for the face-to-face interaction process. In case they don't feel so, so what they do is they will ask you that they will get back to you shortly and might not take you to the further process. The panel interview, I think the picture says it all. There would be 4 or 5 people all together sitting at a place in a room to interview a single person. This is face-to-face interview. This is the most common interview process that happens or a company conducts to understand the human. Stress interview, I have already talked about what it is. It is the style companies use to gauge a candidates response to stress. The idea is that it will give you what the hiring team an idea to of how you will respond when juggling various high priorities tasks, dealing with challenging clients, or facing a difficult coworker or manager. Behavioral interview. So let's see what is the logic behind. I have already discussed the logic behind this interview tactic is that your behavior in past reflects and predicts how you will behave in the future, right? So what they do is they follow the star technique. So what is star technique? Let's understand. This star technique says situation, task, action, and result. So this star technique will tell you the situation. First, they'll ask you the situation, describe the situation in which the event took place. So maybe there will be a question which will be a situation based, or maybe they will give you the task that describe if you complete it. So they will try to understand, your mindset areas, or could be an action, right? That what action did you take to solve the particular problem, right? So these are four methodologies to result the first the behavioral interview. So fourth is result. Result is what after understanding the situation, completing the task, or and performing the relevant actions, what was the result? If the result was appropriate, you are in. So that's how this start of technique is important. Technical interview I have already talked about. This is a tech to understand the professional's efficiency, how technically you are sound. Now your interview is always divided into three parts, right? So what happens is one is before interview, second is during interview, third is after interview. Now let's understand what you should do and what you should not do during these three phases. So now let's see first. Now the first says read about the company, right? So before interview, do not go blank. Always read about the company. So what happens is if you read about the company, you will have an understanding what company does. Because there will be one question, how would you like to serve in our company? You can only answer this question once you know about the company. Maybe you don't know it's a product based company or it is service based industry, or this is sales and marketing company, or maybe it's a revenue generating company. So how will you understand about the company? Only when you read about it through the website, and that too official website. Do not go on references, always follow the official websites. Then go through the JD. JD is nothing but the job description. The moment you apply for any job or any position, that company always releases the job description. So this job description will help you to understand what is your KRA expected against this profile, right? So once you start reading the job description, this will also answer one of the most difficult question, which is why do you think you are the right candidate for this profile, or why should we hire you? Right? Because you can say that why a company can hire you, because you can match most of the skills that is mentioned in the job description, and you feel you are the right candidate for this job profile, rather answering I am a perfect candidate. I am a learn, I learn a lot, I study a lot, I have a positive attitude, or whatsoever, lame answers we tend to give to the recruiter. If we give technically, answers or in a structured way, the possibility of you getting hired will be higher. So whenever the company releases the job description, it's highly recommended that you read the job description. Reread your resume once more. It is very important. Why it is important? When you go and sit in front of the recruiter, you should always go through your resume. Why? Because might they ask you, okay, talk about the objective of your resume, but you have copied and pasted and you don't know, maybe some other person has made your resume, or maybe you have copied it from somebody. So might it happen that you would not know most of the things that is mentioned on the resume. So it is highly recommendable, before you enter the room or before you appear for the interview process, you should always read the resume. It will give you the brief introduction what you're going to say next, and you can revolve or you can just make your questions according to you. Rather, recruiter leads the delivery. Dress up formally. This is very, very, very important. Why? Because what happens is we believe that we can go and wear anything. Who watches us? Yes, people are watching you. Why? Because you're formally dressed up talks a lot more about your personality. If you go lame, right, without any, maybe in the casual attire, or maybe wearing shabby clothes, the recruiter would have first impression that you are not at all serious about you, about your personality. How do you look? If you are not concerned how you look, and you are not concerned on your personal hygiene, then tomorrow how will you be concerned for company, right? And how will you be able to give your best to the company, because you're not even giving best to yourself as a person. Also, you do not look very, very professional if you go in shabby or casual clothes. So it is highly recommendable that whenever you are appearing for the interview process, dress up formally. So what is dressing up formally, I would be talking in the next slide, or maybe in the grooming session, what you should wear, what you shouldn't wear, or what you should avoid wearing through the interview process. Wear wristwatch. So wearing the wristwatch is very, very, very essential part of your interview process. Anybody would like to say or would like to write? I'll give you 1 second to think. All right, I believe a lot of you must have answered the question. So wearing wristwatch is very important. Why? Because when you wear the wristwatch, it talks about that you are punctual by nature, right? Because you value time. That's why you are wearing the wristwatch. If somebody is thinking of that, it gives you the nice personality, or maybe it is just an ornament that you're wearing or an accessory. So no, it gives an impression that you are concerned about time and you value time. So that is how wearing wristwatch is very, very necessary. Arrange your documents and portfolio in chronological order. Yes, very important. Another point. What happens is, most of us, what we do is we carry our resume and our documents in hand, or maybe we carry them very, very casually. So maybe multiple folds, or maybe maybe we have used a lot of marks on the page or paper, so that leaves a wrong impression. So it is highly recommendable that what you can do is you can buy one folder, and you can actually talk about your portfolio. You can buy one portfolio. So it is highly recommendable that you arrange your documents in portfolio. Portfolio is nothing but a leather folder in which you arrange your documents in a chronological order. That means first your highest degree, then second is your 12th mark sheet, passing certificate, 10th mark sheet, passing certificate, or maybe if you have any other documents or the certification against it, you can put in there. Also, if you have achieved any certificate, any medal or something like that, in any achievement or any certificates, you can arrange them after that. Reach minimum 30 minutes before your time. It is highly recommendable. So once you reach the company, you should always try to reach 30 minutes before your time. Why? Because maybe there is a process in which maybe your time comes, or maybe your turn comes at first, so you are so HR is not waiting for you. Or 30 minutes, all reaching early always makes you comfortable, even if you are reaching the company. So you can make yourself comfortable by going, get yourself freshen up, wash your face, or maybe settle there, or something like that you can do to make yourself settled. It's not like you're reaching just in time. So what happens, it gives you a hassle situation wherein you are nervous and you become helpless what to do now. Knock before you enter. Absolutely. I am sure most of us are already doing it, but most of us, maybe we take it very casually. We don't bother these things, but they are very important. Before you enter the room, maybe the recruiter room or the the room of any concerned person, always knock it. Knocking also makes it just three knocks, that's all. Don't go beyond that. It looks that you are really not you don't have patience. So always knock twice, that's all, and wait for your turn. Wait for your call. Yes, it's not like you are again and again getting up and asking when your turn would come. Just go and sit and submit your resume. The concerned person will invite you as and when your turn will come. So do not rush towards the door again and again. Makes a negative impression about you that you are impatient in nature. Don't knock the door impatiently. Yes. So when I was talking about knocking the door, so it has also one protocol. Knock it twice. That's all. It's not like you're knocking the door impatiently. It leaves a negative impression. Prepare your introduction. It is very, very, very important to buy, because the first question that might come across, 100% it will come across. Introduce yourself, tell me something about you, describe yourself, or walk through your resume. Could be one of the questions that would be asked from any candidate, in the very first phase. So preparing your introduction is very, very important. And how do you prepare your introduction? I would be talking about in the classes, in the sessions, future coming sessions, that how can you prepare your introduction and how effectively you can present yourself. Now, next comes is during interview. This is a very important phase of your interview process, which you need to handle very, very seriously, and with all efforts, with all patience, and with all concentration. Now here picture begins. So when you are in the interview process, don't fiddle with your pen, because you're always advisable to carry one rough sheet and pen with you, but that doesn't mean you start fiddling with it. Fiddling means playing with it. So it is highly recommendable that please do not fiddle with your pen once you are in the interview room. Don't look at the clock in the in the regular basis. Why? Because when you start looking at the clock, so what happens is the person would believe that you want to run out from this situation, or you are not interested sitting here, or maybe you want to get out from this place as soon as possible. Maybe you're sitting here because of compulsion, or maybe because of any other reasons you're not interested. So people, they do not like people those who look at the watch again and again. Try to make the eye contact with the recruiter. It should not be staring. I am sorry, it is not mentioned here. So when you are trying to make the eye contact with the recruiter, it is highly recommendable that you are maintaining and the eye contact with the recruiter. It should not be staring, right? Maybe because you have studied that you need to make an eye contact, so the person would believe that you're interested in this particular profile and the person, but that shouldn't be staring. More than 3 seconds looking at one person makes it staring. So don't stare, but just look or make an eye contact with the person, right? Now the next question, the next point is, don't shake your legs on the regular basis, right? So do not shake your legs on the regular basis. It shows that you are very, 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 very nervous, right? So what happens is, what you need to do is you need to relax yourself. That is why it has been needed that you read 15 or 30 minutes before you at your interview place, so that you can make yourself calm, right? So do not shake your leg. It shows that you are really, really nervous, and it leaves a wrong impression. Might it diverts the attention of the recruiter. So it is highly recommendable. Just relax yourself, just put your legs down and take a relaxed position, so that your concentration is not on nervousness, but on the questions that is being asked. Try to maintain a decent smile on the face. This is very interesting. What happens is, most of us, we become so nervous that we forget to smile. And trust me, students, a smile on a face brings lot of energy in you. When you meet, now let's take one example. When you meet a person for the very first time and you are making a poker face, or maybe you are not even happy meeting a person, might he will not like talking to you further. Same happens with the recruiters. Recruiters are also human beings. They also like smart, intelligent, and energetic candidate. And mostly, the people, those are really smiling, positive, so they require kind of a candidate. And if you could maintain a decent smile, now, there is a difference between smiling and laughing. So don't laugh. It could be offensive, might think that you are laughing at him, you're making fun of that person, might take it in the wrong way. But yes, smiling, in between makes the environment light and lot of positivity in the conversation. The people, they do like people, those who smile, uh, you know, occasionally. So whenever you are in the interaction process, you are meeting a person, bring a smile, give that warmth to the recruiter that he really feels good talking to you. Offer a firm handshake, right? This is very, very, very important, right? Do not go for handshake where you break the hand of the other person. That's a big no. Maybe you are very nervous, energetic, so please do take care. If you are, going to share your hand, maybe you're offering your hand for a handshake to a lady, so be firm. Even if it is a male, have a firm handshake. Don't be too excited and do not be harsh on the other person. Listen to be sure you understand your interviewer's name and the correct pronunciation, right? So whenever the interviewer is sharing his identifications, so please be very, 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 give all your ears there. Why? Because it leaves strong impression if he, in any of the conversation you miss that, or maybe you're asking, sir, can I have your name please again, or maybe you mispronounce the name of the interviewer, it leaves a negative impression, because nobody likes to hear their name in the wrong way, right, or wrong pronunciation. So in case you are not able to understand, you can ask for the pardon sir, or maybe, sir, can you please give the right pronunciation of the word, so he can correct you there and then, rather you listening and after 4 or 5 minutes you're making the wrong pronunciation of his name. So that leaves a negative impression, right? Also, I would suggest, when you are giving the questions, do not give any lame answers. If you don't know the answers, so it is always advisable to say, excuse me sir, I would appreciate if I could meet you next and give you the same answer. Please excuse me for this question today, right? Or I'm sorry, I couldn't answer this question right now. I don't have any sufficient knowledge for against this question, right? But do not give any lame answer, or maybe the answer which is, maybe not relevant, or maybe, maybe you're giving the answer, maybe, in the absurd way. Don't do that. If you don't know the answer, take the excuse and move. Now, during this interview session, we have talked about few points. Now let's talk about after interview. So what you should do after interview. So in after interview, what you need to do is you need to thank the recruiter for sparing time for, to interview you, because he has invested time, he has invested a lot of energy in you. So this is your responsibility to say thank, to the recruiter you are sitting with. Also, sometimes you can you can take proper feedback from the interviewer. Why? Because what happens is, most of the times when you appear for the interview process, might some of the interviewers would like to have proper feedback. So in this proper thing, what you can do is, you can take proper feedback to understand your, maybe, your gray areas or areas of improvement. There is no harm, but you need to understand whether the recruiter is interested doing that or not. So these are some do's and don'ts of interview skills. I will be talking about the other technical, things of interviews in the next class. Till then, take care of yourself.